The storm hit before she could turn back. By the time Eliza Rowan saw the cabin, it was already too late. The trail behind her was gone, buried, erased, like it had never existed. There was only one place left to go: forward. The wind shoved her inside before she could decide. The door slammed shut behind her, hard, final. And suddenly, the storm was outside, not in here. The cabin was dim, warm, but barely. Light from a single lantern flickered across rough wooden walls. And him. Caleb Ward stood a few steps away, still, watching, not moving toward her, not moving away, just there. He didn't speak right away, didn't rush, didn't fill the silence. That made it worse. Eliza's breath came uneven, cold, still clinging to her skin, to her bones, to the space between them. She hadn't planned this, not like this, not trapped, not alone with a man she had never met. "You made it in." His voice low, steady, like the storm didn't matter. She nodded slightly, couldn't find words yet. He stepped forward, just one step, and that was enough. Not close, not yet, but closer than before. Eliza felt it immediately, the change in distance, the way the air shifted, the way her chest tightened for no reason she could explain. "You're freezing." He said it like fact, not concern, but it sounded like both. She swallowed. "I'm fine." She wasn't. They both knew it. Another step. Now she could feel it, the heat coming off him, cutting through the cold that had followed her for miles. Still not touching, still giving space, but close enough that she couldn't ignore him anymore. Her back brushed lightly against the wall, without realizing she had stepped back. He noticed, didn't comment, didn't move closer again, just stayed there, holding that distance. "You've been on the road too long." His voice softer now. The wind slammed hard against the cabin. The walls groaned. Eliza flinched before she could stop herself. Caleb moved, not fast, not sudden, but deliberate. He stepped closer, closing the space between them, just enough that the cold stopped reaching her. His presence blocked it, the draft, the shaking air. She felt it, every inch of it, the warmth, the steadiness, the fact that he wasn't touching her, but could. "You don't have to be afraid here." She looked up at him, really looked this time. His face wasn't soft, wasn't kind in the way she expected, but it wasn't cruel either. "I'm not afraid." Her voice betrayed her. He didn't argue, didn't call it out, just nodded slightly. That made it worse, because he saw through her and didn't use it. The cabin shook again, stronger this time. Her hand moved without thinking, fingers gripping the edge of his coat, tight. She froze instantly, realizing. His eyes dropped to her hand, then back to her face. No anger, no claim, no reaction at all. "It's all right." He said it simply. Her fingers loosened slightly, but didn't fully let go. Because something had changed. Small, but real. She wasn't holding on to him to stay standing, not anymore. She was holding on because she didn't want to step away. And that terrified her more than the storm outside. The storm didn't ease. It settled in, like it planned to stay. Inside, the air was warmer now, but the space between them wasn't. Eliza stepped back first, slowly, carefully, like pulling herself away from something she didn't understand. Her fingers finally let go of his coat. The absence of it felt louder than the contact. "I didn't come here by choice." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Caleb didn't answer right away, didn't react. He just watched her. No one does. Simple, flat, true. That caught her. She looked at him again, this time not as a stranger, but as someone who understood something she hadn't said out loud yet. "They told me," she started, then stopped. The words didn't come easy. "They told me I'd be safe here, that I wouldn't have to worry any more." Her eyes dropped to the floor, to the space between them. "But they didn't say anything about—" She hesitated. "You." That hung there, between them. Not accusation, not fear, just truth. Caleb shifted slightly. Not away, not closer, just enough to break the stillness. "And what did you expect?" She looked up again, caught off guard by the question. "I don't know." A pause. "Not this." He studied her, not judging, not soft either, just seeing. "You expected worse." He said it for her. She didn't answer, didn't need to. The fire cracked behind them, light shifting across the room. Caleb turned slightly, grabbing another piece of wood, feeding the fire. Simple, grounded, real. Eliza watched him, the way he moved, efficient, controlled, like everything had a place, even silence. "You're not what they said." The words came quieter now. He didn't look back. People say a lot of things. That almost sounded like a warning. She stepped closer again, not forced, not uncertain, just choosing. This time she stopped near the table, not the wall, not the door. Closer to him. "I thought I'd have to—" She searched for the word. "Endure it." His hand stilled slightly near the fire, just for a second. "You won't." The words came low, certain. That landed differently, not like a promise, like a rule. She watched him longer now, trying to understand that certainty. Why? That one mattered. He turned back to her, slow, measured. "Because I don't take things that aren't given." That hit, harder than anything else. Eliza's chest rose slightly, then steadied. Something loosened, not all of it, but enough. "You could." A pause. Stepped closer again, this time closing the space completely. Not touching still, but close enough that she could feel his presence fully now. That's not the same thing. Their eyes locked. No distance left to hide behind. Her breath slowed, matched his. For the first time since she arrived, she wasn't thinking about leaving. She was thinking about staying. The realization hit her, unexpected, unwanted. "That's dangerous," she whispered. He didn't ask what she meant. He already knew. "Only if you don't mean it." That made her hesitate, just for a second. Then her hand moved again. This time, not grabbing, not reacting, just resting lightly against his arm. Intentional. He didn't move it away, didn't react, but something in his posture shifted, softer, barely. "You should rest," he said again, but this time it sounded different, less like distance, more like restraint. She didn't step back, didn't remove her hand. Not yet. That was new, and for the first time Caleb didn't look like a man in control of everything, because the storm hadn't brought her there. It had only trapped her long enough to realize she didn't want to leave. The wind hit harder after midnight. Not fading, not easing, like it wanted in. The cabin shifted slightly under the pressure. Eliza turned toward the sound, just as a sharp gust rattled the frame. She flinched. This time, she didn't hide it. Caleb was already there, not rushing, but faster than before. He moved between her and the door. One hand braced against the wall, then the other, on either side of her, not touching her, not trapping her, but close, too close to ignore. The space disappeared. Eliza felt it immediately. The heat, the closeness, the way his body blocked everything else out. Her back pressed lightly against the wood behind her. Nowhere else to step. "You don't have to," she started. "I know." His voice low, right there. He wasn't looking at the storm anymore. He was looking at her. Close enough now that she could see the shift in his eyes. Not cold, not distant. Something else. Held back. Another gust hit the cabin, hard. The wall shook. Her breath caught, and without thinking, her hands lifted, resting against his chest. Firm, steady. She froze. Again. But this time she didn't pull away. Neither did he. His hands stayed where they were, against the wall, holding that space, not closing it, not leaving it. "You're still cold," he said, quiet. She shook her head slightly. "No." A pause. "I'm not." And that wasn't about the storm any more. Her fingers tightened slightly against his shirt, feeling the steadiness beneath it, the strength, the restraint. "Then why are you shaking?" The question wasn't sharp, just honest. She swallowed, looked up at him, really looked. "Because you keep stepping closer," a breath, "and you don't touch me." That landed, hard. For a second, something shifted in him, subtle but real. His hands didn't move from the wall, but his body leaned just slightly closer, enough that she could feel his breath now. "You want me to?" he asked, low, controlled. That was the moment, the line. She could have stepped away, could have broken it, could have ended it right there. But she didn't. Don't step away. Not loud, not dramatic, just certain. That was all it took. His hand moved, finally, from the wall to her waist. Not sudden, not rough, but undeniable. She inhaled sharply. Her hands didn't leave his chest, didn't push him away. They stayed there, holding him in place. Bodies, finally, close enough that there was no space left to question. But he didn't go further, didn't take more. He stopped there, held it, because that mattered more. "You're not trapped," he said softly. She shook her head, barely. "I know." A breath. "I'm choosing." That changed everything. His grip shifted slightly at her waist. Not tighter, just certain. The storm outside kept raging, the cabin still shaking. But inside, nothing moved. Because neither of them wanted to be the first to step back. And somewhere between the storm, the silence, and the space that no longer existed between them, they both realized this wasn't something they were trying to survive anymore. It was something they didn't want to stop. Morning came without asking. No warning, no storm, just light, quiet, settling over everything the night had shaken. The cabin was still, warmer now, but not the same. Eliza woke first, not fully rested, but steady. For a moment she didn't move, didn't think, just listened. The storm was gone, completely. That should have meant something. It meant she could leave. That was the truth. The blanket slipped slightly from her shoulder, cool air touching skin that had been warm all night. She didn't pull it back immediately, because she wasn't cold. Not anymore. Her eyes moved across the room, landing on him. Caleb sat near the door, already awake, already dressed, like he hadn't slept at all, watching the outside, not her. That felt intentional. "You're up early." Her voice softer now, not uncertain, just different. He nodded once, didn't turn yet. "The road will be clear." A beat. "You can head out before noon." There it was. Simple, expected. Eliza stood slowly, the wooden floor cold under her feet. She moved toward the table, where her things were, packed, ready. He had already done that. She looked at them, then at him. "You're not asking me to stay." Not a complaint, just a fact. "No," he said, finally turning slightly. "You're not something I keep." That should have made it easier, should have made the choice clear, but it didn't. Her fingers rested on the small bundle of things she had carried with her, everything she had left, everything she was supposed to go back to. Slowly she untied it. Inside, a folded paper, worn, handled too many times. She stared at it, longer than she should have. "This is where I'm supposed to go," she said quietly. Caleb didn't respond, didn't ask, didn't move, because it wasn't his decision. Her fingers tightened slightly on the paper. Then, without ceremony, she stepped toward the fire, held it there, just long enough to choose. Then she let it go. The edges curled instantly, flames taking it, erasing it like it had never mattered. Caleb watched that, didn't interrupt, didn't question. "You're burning your way out," he said quietly. She shook her head, eyes still on the fire. "No." A pause. "I'm choosing my way forward." That landed differently. He stood, this time moving toward her, not stopping halfway, closing the distance. She didn't step back, didn't look away. "You know what this means," he said, low, real. She nodded. "It means I stay." A pause. "Because I want to." Not because she had nowhere else to go, not because of the storm, not because of him, because she chose it. That mattered more than anything. Caleb studied her, longer than before, then nodded once. "Then you stay." No condition, no claim, just acceptance. That made something in her chest tighten. Because he wasn't holding her there. He was letting her. And somehow that made it impossible to leave. The sky had cleared completely, bright, wide, endless. The world looked different now, like it had reset. Eliza stepped out onto the porch. Caleb followed, stopping beside her. Not too close, not far. For the first time, the distance between them felt chosen, not forced. "You didn't even ask where I'd go," she said softly. "I don't need to," he answered. "If you wanted to leave," a pause, "you already would have." That was true. She looked out at the horizon, then slightly toward him. "I didn't." And that was the answer. Because the storm had brought her there, but the morning was what made her stay. The day moved slower after that, not because time changed, but because something else did. The air felt different, quieter, not empty, just settled. Eliza stayed near the cabin most of the morning, not because she had to, because she didn't feel the need to go anywhere else. She moved through the space carefully, touching things, noticing them, like she was learning it, making it hers. The table, the fire, the window where the storm had pressed against the glass. All of it felt familiar now. Caleb worked outside, splitting wood, same rhythm, same control, but different, because now he wasn't alone. He could feel her presence, even when she wasn't beside him. That was new. He didn't fight it, didn't question it, just let it be there. The sun dropped lower, light turning softer, warmer. Eliza stepped out onto the porch again. This time, she didn't stop at the doorway. She walked toward him. Caleb noticed. Of course he did. But he didn't stop what he was doing. Not yet. One more swing. Then he set it down. "You're still here." He said it simply. She almost smiled. "I told you." A pause. "I would be." That still sounded new, even to her. She stepped closer until she stood beside him, not behind, not unsure, beside. For a moment they didn't speak, didn't move, just stood there, looking out at the same horizon. "This place," she started, then paused. "It doesn't feel like a place people get sent to anymore." Caleb glanced at her, just slightly. "No." A pause. "It doesn't." That was enough. Her hand moved first, resting lightly against his. Not grabbing, not testing, just there. He looked down at it, then back at her. And this time he didn't wait. His hand turned, fingers closing around hers. Firm, warm, certain. She didn't pull away, didn't hesitate. Instead, she stepped just a little closer. Not enough to make it obvious, but enough that their shoulders touched. That was new. He felt it, every second of it. "You sure about this?" he asked, low. Not doubt, just truth. She turned her head toward him, close now, closer than before. "I already chose." A pause. "I just didn't say it out loud." That hit, deeper than expected. His hand tightened slightly around hers, not holding her there, just not letting go. "You don't have to prove anything," he said. "I'm not," she answered. "I'm staying." That was it. No drama, no hesitation, just fact. He stepped closer, filling the space completely. His free hand moved to her waist, familiar now, but softer. She leaned into it, without thinking, without questioning, their bodies fitting naturally together, like it had already happened before. His hand lifted slightly, brushing against her hair, then resting gently at the side of her face. He gave her time, every second of it. She didn't look away, didn't step back. Instead, she leaned in first. The kiss was soft, unrushed, not something taken, something shared. When they parted, they didn't move far. Foreheads close, breath steady. "No more storms," she whispered. He almost smiled. Almost. "There will be." A pause. "But not like before." She understood that, because the storm had brought her here, but it wasn't the reason she stayed. She stayed because for the first time she wasn't being sent somewhere. She was choosing where she belonged.